Hello and welcome back to playing more StarMade. So what I was going to show is a nice little tool I found playing around with holding down the left control button while placing blocks. And up in the top right you can toggle on the remove, but what I'm showing here is you can extend it to along the X, Y, or Z axis. And what that lets you do is when you hold down control again, so I have it X10, and so that's giving me a nice long block. So I can lay down a whole bunch of blocks really quickly using this tool. And what I'm going to try using is the disintegrator. Apparently it's supposed to be a high explosive. So let's see what we can do here by using as much of my explosives as possible. So I've done the X there. Now throw some on the Y, as I want them going up and down. So I'm going to bring that down to 1 and then that up to 10. And so now, yeah, I can place them up and down, which will just make this a lot easier and quicker. You can overlap and it doesn't place down a second one, so once again, very easy. Nice tools there. And you know, that's a lot of explosives, but I don't think it's nearly enough, so I'm going to keep going a little bit. I have a whole button over 200 here, so we'll place one more, and we can afford a couple rows, I think. Let's really see what this baby can do. So I haven't played with these explosives at all in this game. They suggest landmines, battering rams. Alright, battering rams. We'll see if that'll work. So now I'll have to switch it back to the X. And so as you can see, I mean, you can place those down pretty quickly, but this just makes it even faster and easier. Especially if you want to lay down some nice large line and keep everything straight. Okay, but if you do have it not quite centered, then yeah, you're just gonna have some problems. So that's okay. We want more explosives anyways. And we still have a 138. Well, oh, we still need another row in there. Oh, and why not? One more row. You can never have too many explosives. And I suppose it makes it a lot easier if you plan your build out in advance so you're not switching these constantly, but you know, that's the way it works sometimes. One more row, and alright, so let's see what happens. Let's just see what kind of explosives these are. Ah. Well, they're definitely touchy and explosive. Oof. Yeah, so these are definitely some craters. These are totally craters. Well, that's just going to go off any moment now, isn't it? I'm surprised it actually survived. Ooh. kind of in the planet or something. Did I break it? Yeah, so I'm not quite sure where my ship went, but those were explosive blocks, so I guess you can jump on them. Escape off this planet unless we run into the block. Well, I guess it didn't go off. Alright. Well, there's a pirate somewhere over there. Oh, if I could just escape the gravity. Alright, so we'll need an engine and a battering ram. It doesn't want me to kill myself outright. I'm gonna have to be clever about it. There we go. Here, Mr. Pirate. Let's see what happens. Oh, well, see, that won't really help if I'm not actually in my ship. One thing I do find, it is easy to mistake yourself when you're in build mode and when you're just flying around a spaceship. You don't always... Basically, if you're in build mode, you should see the arrows, but even still, when you're in flight mode, you should have that circle in front of you, but it's easy to forget about that sometimes. This should make it a little bit quicker getting to the enemies. There we go. Alright. A suicide run. Let's hope we can take out a pirate. Oh, oh, whoa. Whoa. Oh. Alright. Okay, so our entire ship was destroyed. Severely damaged. His still seems to be going, although he only has 2 blocks attached to it. So that was definitely interesting. Not what I intended. So we're going to just need a little bit more explosives to finish myself off, because I just wanted to respawn back at my base and show you a few other things. So time to crater. We can get a nice chase cam view of the final descent. Yeah. So, as I showed in a few videos ago, activating this place that makes our spawn point our base. So now I can show you a few other things. I was continuing to work on that main turret for our destroyer, and I managed to get it in place. So definitely quite a bit larger, although not quite as large as I expected I was going to be able to fit. I'll show you why. Now, I have the turret block in there, and I have it as protected as well with some hardened armor, so to avoid it getting shot off like other times. And then I have the turret extenders running down here and creating spreading out to give it a larger pattern, so I have more space to put the turret on. And when I go and have a look, like it tells you you have a huge space. Like when I built that cannon, it sort of easily fit in this big green box. But if it was just a little larger, a few parts, and it was not accepting it. So could just be some orientation issues, something I'm not quite getting right. But I've got it, it definitely doing a lot of damage. It's a coil design, so I've coiled it around and then just stuffed a bunch of shield generators in there, so it should be able to put out a fair amount of damage. And just fill those again. Oh, appear to be getting some lag. I'll want to put some armored cores on those. So the other thing I was playing around with was someone in the comments had mentioned no, excuse me, having a heal cannon, and so I basically made it here. And once again, I was actually in the ship build mode, flying up onto the starbase. So I made a heal cannon, and I set it up just like you would a turret, but it doesn't really seem to work. It seems like the turret AI will only track enemies, and I'm guessing what it'll do is it'll just fire whatever weapon is activated, which, we don't really want it healing the enemies. So I set up a little test here. So when I got in this ship and was able to do a bit of damage to the hull, and then I'd exit out of that. The AI, I'm going to activate that. It really doesn't. It doesn't automatically go. If we get in the turret, you can definitely use it. So there's definitely a possibility. For example, you have a starbase in a multiplayer server. I could totally see, having a nice big heal cannon, and if someone manning it on your base or on a ship, and they'd be able to manually do that. The AI currently is pretty basic. All it's really doing is going to try to attack the enemy. And so I haven't actually brought any enemies close by to see if that thing will actually shoot at them. But I'm guessing if it does, all it's going to do is just going to try and heal them. So not something we want as an automatic turret, but I can definitely see that on ships or stations in multiplayer scenario where you're supporting some friends and working together as a fleet. That totally viable. Once again, right-clicking on doors makes them disappear. Now I was just going to check, and yeah, figure I'd give you a little more taste of action. Let's try out this cannon, the new cannon that I designed, and see how that turret works. So we're going to take this destroyer out for another little excursion, pirate hunting. Thankfully, I've been seeing some pirates sort of skirting around the outside of my base, but none have come close. So what I'm thinking I might do is get some admin codes, and what we'll do next video, might try an assault on the base and spawn a bunch of enemies around our base and see if those turrets work and if everything works as intended, or whether everything just gets blown up and I have to run away in my destroyer, which we know works somewhat. Okay, so that main turret is not firing at all. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's tracking, I'm guessing. And we're taking a lot of damage on the shield, but yeah, that seems to be working. Yeah, someone else was saying that using the missiles, you need to keep the reticle on your target. They're not fire and forget, so that definitely could have been part of the problem I had last time. Although, Yo, shields are down. So, done a bit of armor upgrade, so I'm hoping we're going to see even less damage, maybe just a bit of superficial. But I still want to get a bit of distance, let the shields regenerate, and continue pounding them with the cannon. There we go. Fire some missiles. Are they going? Are they going to hit? That turret is kind of getting in my way. I can't see where the missiles are going. And I'm going to assume that's a miss. So maybe I might need to extend my conning tower a little bit so that that turret, if it does spin around, it doesn't block my view like it just did. And trying to... One thing about having those cockpits up on different places of your ship is it can be a little difficult to judge the orientation of the guns. I notice I tend to shoot. You really got to sort of aim. The target's giving you an aim as if you were in your cockpit. If they were shooting out directly from you, but where my guns are a lot lower on the ship than... Oh, core is overheating, so I'm just pounding away at that guy for no reason. So you got to adjust for that. So my guns are a lot lower on my ship, so I got to sort of aim much higher to get them to land. But definitely a few pirates where that cannon seems to be holding up much better. It's hard to tell whether it's doing a whole lot of damage. It is pretty rapid fire, but I don't know if it's much more rapid fire than the other ones. I was testing, like the dual shot seemed to give a little bit less, but I don't know whether that's per hit or because otherwise the amount was about 56 for the dual hit and about 130, 140 for the one shot. Oh, pirate loot. Well, we'll have to get that even though we're under fire. They won't get through our shields, just one of them. And we picked up a bunch of stuff. Find that last pirate. Seems to be below us. Oh. Yeah, the shields are holding well. And that cannon's definitely effective. Oh, although this ship is just not terribly maneuverable. For all this spinning around, it's hard to keep our target within sight. Go. One more pirate down. Once again, we just need to get that core, and maybe we'll salvage this guy. Notice that my power units are starting to get low. Only having a few hundred of them. Who knows? For whatever builds it might need, we're going to need more parts. Although, from the looks of it, I think I'm going to destroy the guy's ship before I ever manage to hit the... There we go. So we get the devil, and I see a cloud of pirate loot. There we go. We'll need to pick that up. kinds of stuff. Alright, so that was a couple pirate kills. And let's salvage this. So while the core is overheating there, all I need to do is just go and get into it, and it'll stop the overheat, and then I'll basically own the ship. So get outside and maybe we can have a little peek. I know we took some hits there when our shields were down, but oh yeah, I mean a few minor shots here and there. That we can run the heal beam over and we'll be good to go. Now that ship seems to be drifting off, so I think what I'll do is I'll drop down a capsule to get to it. Very handy, keeping a couple cores on you for situations like that, because I have noticed things tend to drift out in open space. If you're near asteroids, it seems a little more fixed, but when you're out in the middle of space or by planets, yeah, things tend to drift. So there, now I've gotten into the core. Now it's going to stop overheating now. Basically at this point I can just sort of go into build mode and disassemble the ship at my leisure. So that's another little pirate battle, a few upgrades I showed you, and the explosives, so maybe we're going to have to figure out some more ways to use that. Perhaps there's a way to blow up an entire planet if I get enough of it. So thanks for watching, so long for now.